to tilt the tray, we need to write some code. So I'm going to attach this code to the tray. Go to the assets folder. Add component and new script, which I shall call tilt tray. So we'll add that in. Don't forget to keep these scripts tidy. We've got a scripts folder, so it tends to put it into the assets folder directly. So if we just take it, it's still creating it. Okay. Okay, last. Right, so I've just popped it into the scripts folder. Let's look at that tray again. A bit slow. Right, there's my script. Let's edit that. Here we go. So this is my tilt tray code, which is it's coming. Right, there we go. I have been experimenting with this before, so we had a bit of coding there. Right, so I want to put in a public float for tilt speed, so we can control how fast we can control this tilt. Now, we've got an update function built in, but I'm going to change that to a fixed update. You should remember that a fixed update occurs at a regular interval, whereas update doesn't. It just occurs every time the frame changes. Okay, so I'm going to get some input from here. So I'm going to make float next. And I'm going to get this from the horizontal axis. So I've got, sorry, the vertical axis. Don't forget the capital letter. Now I'm going to scale this by tilt speed. And again, because it's a fixed update, by time, delta time. And I'm going to get the Y tilt from the horizontal axis. Okay, so that should give us a bit of movement on the X and the Y axis. Now I'm going to create a new vector 3. I'm going to call this tray tilt. And I'm going to make this into a new vector 3. I'm going to put in the X tilt, Y tilt, and we're having no tilt around the Z axis, so I'm going to put in 0 and make sure it's floating point there. Right, so that should give me some tilt in parts of a degree that I can apply to the rotation of the tray. So I'm going to put transform, and then we've got a rotate function here, and this is expecting a vector 3, so I'll put in the tray tilt. And that should actually tilt the tray. I'm going to put in a default value for this tilt speed. We can override this if we want to, but that will do for now. I'm not going to use the start at all, but I'll leave it there. Let's just test that. That seems to be fine, so don't forget to stop it. And we'll go back to Unity. Now that public variable should appear here with the figure 10 in it. There it is. 10 is fine. We'll try that out. So if I run that, with any luck I should be able to tilt it in the directions I want. Okay, so it's going that way. Yeah. And we can tilt back this way. Should be able to tilt horizontally as well. Now if you find your tray is tilting in the wrong direction, then all you need to do is swap the X tilt and the Y tilt, and if it's tilting in the right axis but in the wrong way, then you can always put a negative value in there. Now I have experimented with this, and I found that when I tilted the tray in this corner, it's difficult to see it, so I did raise the camera a bit. So I've got some new values here for you. So I found that these figures, so -10, 22, -10, 65, 40, 0, worked quite well. Okay, but again, as I said, you can experiment with the position of the camera yourself. Now I probably want to position this ball at the beginning of the this movement. So I'm going to have my starting position is going to be here. Now it would be helpful if we could just look at the top of the tray, and we can do that again with this gizmo. So let's put back to global axes, and if I just click on there, we've got the top view of the tray. And we can also get rid of the perspective if we click back on here, and then we've got an isometric view, and it's quite easy then to move the ball to the correct position to start the game. Looks good. And then if I want to go back into the normal view, hold the Alt key, drag the left mouse button. There we go. Does that work? Okay, falling into place quite nicely there, and I can start moving it around. Okay, it's doing what we want it to do now. But to make it a game, we need to have some sort of competitive element. So how about see if you can get from one end to the other in the fastest time possible, in which case we will need a clock, and that's our next part of the project. Don't forget to save. I've done quite a bit there.